Right now, dozens of Midland cyclists are in the middle of an emotional ride that began just a short while ago.
They are riding to remember the life and legacy of a dear friend who lost his life on his bicycle this past weekend. Chad Mills is at Summit Cycles, and Chad, they say the man they're riding in memory of tonight was hard to describe.
Hard to describe because it's really hard to put into words just how nice of a guy he was, how strong his faith was, and how much he loved the family he leaves behind. Henry Mandrell gears up for a weekly tradition, a group bike ride.
So it's a tight community. Everybody pretty much knows everybody. There's group rides, most every day of the week. There's, Saturday rides, Sunday rides.
But this week's ride is different. With a heavy heart, he and dozens of others are riding for a fallen friend, Justin Turner.
Justin's death was not because he was on a bike. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It could have been somebody walking the dog or, pushing a baby stroller.
Troopers say 40-year-old Turner was riding his bike when he was hit and killed by a driver who had to swerve when an unknown driver drove into the intersection without right-of-way. With Turner gone, his wife is left to cope with the unimaginable pain of sudden loss and the pain of another battle she's facing, taking care of 3 young kids while she battles stage 4 breast cancer.
I think, everybody in the community has, come together to help out. They realize, what Brooke's going to have to go through, going forward.
As donations, well wishes, and prayers continue, Mandrell, the co-owner of Summit Cycles, is doing his small part. A weekly group bike ride transformed into a memorial ride to remember a dear friend and fellow cyclist.
I don't know if I've met anybody as nice as Justin Turner. A lot of times when somebody dies, you realize what you've lost. I think with somebody like Justin, we already knew, who he was.
In her comments during Justin's funeral today, his widow talked about just what bicycling meant to him. He fell in love as a teenager, a young boy, even saved up money by washing cars to save up for his dream bicycle, would go out after school, ride as far as he could, only to try to best that the next night. As for this memorial ride, as it wraps up this evening, I've heard that people, even from outside the Midlands, drove all the way here to be part of this tonight. Live in Richland County, Chad Mills, WIS News 10.
Thank you, Chad. And Highway Patrol says the driver they're looking for was in a silver sedan. Call Crime Stoppers at 1-888-CRIME-SC if you know anything about that. And earlier this afternoon, as you heard Chad mention, was the funeral. Justin's wife, Brooke, shared with all of us there that her husband never stood behind a pulpit to preach and wasn't a missionary in Africa or a best-selling Christian author. But he was a picture of what it looks like to be an everyday faithful man of God, living it out where it really mattered in 1,000 small moments most people never saw.